Throughout the flow of human history, a question has always haunted the greatest minds. Are those twinkling stars in the silent night sky secretly manipulating the fate of the small lives on Earth? Religion brings faith, philosophy brings reflection, but in the ancient East, humanity chose a different path. They encoded the sky, transforming the stars into a great map of psychology and destiny. That map is known as purple star astrology. However, few know that the discipline sought by millions today was once a forbidden cipher, reserved solely for emperors. Let's turn back the clock to the 10th century, at the mist-shrouded Mount Hua in China. History records an outstanding genius, a sage who cared not for fame or wealth, rejecting all courtly rewards. He was solely fascinated by observing the movements of the stars, understanding the cycle of the universe, and the ancient Book of Changes. One night, the sage pointed to the sky, towards the Emperor Star and the Treasury Star, and was shocked to realize they were entering the dark territory of the Destroyer and the Star of Destitution. Under his discerning eyes, these were not inanimate stars. They were imperial signs, symbols of the sovereign. When the Emperor Star encounters the Destroyer and the Star of Destitution, it is an omen that the true Son of Heaven is in peril and must wander as a beggar. At the same time, the light from that constellation was shining directly down to the foot of Mount Hua. The next day, exactly as predicted, the sage and his disciple came across a woman carrying two starving, haggard children. By cross-referencing their exact time of birth with the stars, he immediately recognized the true sons of heaven. Those two poor, stunted children would later become the founders of the Great Song dynasty. From that moment, purple star astrology became a top secret of the imperial palace. It was so sharp and accurate that emperors feared if the common people understood the sky's cipher, they would know when the dynasty would fall and when to rise up and seize the throne. This science also followed noble lords migrating south, deeply influencing the royal courts of ancient Vietnam. From illustrious dynasties to strategic generals, it was used to select talented people and predict the rise and fall of a nation. But from a project studying the laws of the universe, it was hidden in the shadow of power before falling into the hands of the common folk, eventually being covered with countless layers of superstitious fog. Over thousands of years of wandering, this astrology was rumored, embellished, and distorted. Many mistakenly believe that the stars on a natal chart are invisible deities. They think if you touch them, you must worship and exorcise them. But the truth is, purple star astrology has no magic. It is not a religion. It is a great logical puzzle about human psychology, personality, and society. Stripping away the superstition, we will see that the universe in this astrological chart is actually a reflection of the human world. It divides people and events into characteristic energy groups. At the head is the Emperor Star. This star is not a magical fairy granting blessings, but a symbol of a leader, of bearing responsibility, and especially of concealment. A person with strong Emperor energy always keeps deep secrets, acts with high calculation, protects others, but is also filled with absolute authority. Accompanying the Emperor is always the Treasury Star. If the Emperor is the king, then the Treasury is the giant storehouse. It represents assets, the ability to manage money, and the comforting, consoling, and nurturing of people. When these two stars go together, they create a perfect model of power, having both the ability to command and the financial resources to nurture. But human society is not just about peaceful rule and overflowing treasuries. In the opposing position on the chart's sky, there always exists a system of stars carrying breakthrough, fierce, and sometimes cruel energy. This is the triad of the seven killings, the destroyer, and the greedy wolf. The Seven Killings is the star of deprivation, of lightning-fast action, of crisis, and of extreme solitude. It is the sword swung in the night, the moment when a person is pushed to the wall, forced to gamble with life and death, smashing all molds to survive. Those carrying the Seven Killings are fearless. They dare to face danger, but easily fall into loneliness, covered in wounds. The Destroyer is the star of dismantling, smashing the old to explore new horizons. It is the leader of rebellion, ready to let go, losing what was familiar to find a revolution of their own. This destruction could mean bankruptcy or brokenness, but it could also lead to the discovery of humanity's greatest secrets. And the greedy wolf is the flame of ambition, of unlimited desires. It governs hunting, scouting, and searching. It is political ambition, the pursuit of fame, wealth, and physical desires. The greedy wolf, when combined with knowledge, will create great researchers, but when fallen, it becomes a deep pit of depravity and corruption. No star is entirely bad, nor is any star absolutely good. Purple Star Astrology does not judge good or evil. It merely exposes how all things operate. Where there is construction, there is destruction. Where there is concealment, there is uncovering. Where there is the pinnacle of fame, there are stormy abysses. A highly authoritative emperor's star, if born at the wrong time and accompanied by bad stars, is just a puppet king, a dissatisfied person harboring big dreams but lacking the power. This map teaches us that everything in the world has two sides. The sun star represents light, openness, and brilliance, but when that light is too dazzling, it becomes boastful, ostentatious, and easily attracts envy. The star of intellect represents clear calculation and logic, but when calculated excessively, it turns into petty schemes and selfish manipulation. The core issue does not lie in which star the universe grants you, but in how those stars interact with each other on your own chessboard of destiny. When looking at such a massive and terrifyingly logical picture of destiny, the biggest, most agonizing question arises. If the chart has already set the positions of the stars at the very moment we are born, is fate a dark prison with no escape? Are all human efforts just superfluous strokes on a completed manuscript? The answer from serious masters of this research is a resounding no. The stars point out your destiny, which is the fixed circumstances you are given. But they also give you the right to action, which is how you seize your life. What is the fixed destiny? It is the circumstance, the limit, the stage that the universe has prepared for you. You cannot argue against where you were born, in what era, or what genetics you carry from your parents. A fixed destiny might be having a malefic star on your chart, carrying the seeds of disaster. But action is your will. It is the way you choose to play the role of your life. A seven-killing star, with its depriving and killing nature, can push a lost soul to become a violent criminal. But that same courageous and decisive energy can forge a brilliant surgeon, daily wielding a scalpel to reclaim life from the hands of death. History has witnessed great figures, like the legendary Vietnamese Emperor Quang Trung. Though his life was short, he seized the ultimate glory with his extraordinary will and military talent, entirely bypassing the limits that fate had arranged for him. The biggest paradox of fortune tellers is that they always want to find a miracle to avoid difficulties. But Purple Star Astrology truly does not teach us to run away. It is a mind map, a lens for us to illuminate the ultimate weaknesses and the hidden strengths deep within our being. Knowing you are hot-tempered, knowing you easily fall into the trap of the greedy wolf, you can then take the calmness and discipline of the martial and treasury stars to control it. Knowing you are entering the breaking stage of the destroyer, you can actively change, Actively smash your old routines so as not to be crushed by external circumstances. No star brings disaster on its own. Ignorance and a lack of self-understanding are the true, most dangerous abyss. In the end, understanding your stars does not take away human freedom. On the contrary, it frees us from blindness. When you see through the sky's cipher and understand the dual nature of each star operating within yourself, you will no longer fear the dark. Because the ultimate destination of understanding destiny is not to bow down in submission, but to bravely create your own.